Look, if you have a $10 bill, your banknote could be worth a lot more money than just $10. By the end of this video, you're gonna know everything you need to know about $10 bills. Sometimes the smallest little feature on a $10 bill can mean the difference of hundreds or thousands of dollars. One of the first things you need to know that depending on how many notes were printed for a specific print run will dictate how much demand there is for a specific note. It may seem obvious, but a simple supply and demand issue. If they produced 1,000,000 banknotes for a specific run versus only 100,000, there's going to be a lot more demand for that print run with 100,000 notes versus 1,000,000 notes. Now within those 100,000 notes, if there is a rare air or a fancy serial number or a rare district within that print run range, that is going to dramatically increase the value of the note. And also, one of the biggest areas that people need to understand is the condition of the banknote is incredibly important. If you find that $10 bill and it's in your purse or wallet and it's all crumpled up and folded, make sure you unfold it as fast as you can. Put it in something flat and hard. If you're out and about, I recommend maybe if you have a book lying around, you just throw it in the book. Make sure it's flat because every single little fold and dent on a bill will decrease the value of the bill quite significantly. So I'm not going to spend too much time on fancy serial numbers, but if your note has a serial number that looks different or strange, this one, for example, graded by PMG as a 66 EPQ. Remember, the highest grading is 70. This one's only a few points away. That means this bill has no folds on it, and it is also a solid number 8 serial number. What's important to know is that in certain cultures, the number 8 is a very sought after number. So even if your note doesn't have solid number 8s, but it has almost completely solid, or it has numerous number 8s in it, it could be worth a lot more money than just $10 because this $10 bill sold for $10,800. So it's important to know that the first time they ever printed these small size Federal Reserve notes was in 1928. So this was the first year they ever printed them. Another important thing to know is depending on the first letter in the serial number will dictate where your note was printed. So the K stands for the Dallas, Texas notes, and this note is considered to be a numeral type. So typically you see the large number 11 on the left side of the bill. Typically that will be a large letter and not a number, but because it's a number, that means this is considered to be a numeral type, and numeral type bills are always going to be worth more money for the most part. You can also see there are 4 different number 11s on every corner of the inside of the bill. Lastly, this is a 1928A bill. There's also 1928Bs and 1928Cs. Now, depending on how many are still in existence will depend on how much the bill is going to be worth. But Dallas, Texas is typically a harder note to find. That's why this one sold for $11,750. Now, I'm sure most of us are familiar with star notes. The star designation you will see at the end of a serial number. What that means is when they were printing these sheets of bills, on the sheet of paper money, there was an error somewhere on one of the bills or numerous of the bills. So what they did was they scrapped that entire sheet and they produced a new sheet of banknotes and they put a star on the serial numbers in order to track for bookkeeping purposes. Now, this note, an example, has the A at the start of the serial number, which is equivalent to the first district for the banknotes. That first district is the Boston district. This one also graded at a 63. That's at the lower spectrum of the uncirculated grade, but it still has no folds whatsoever. And because this one graded so highly and it's a tough date and tough district to find, that Boston district, this note sold for $14,950. This is a pretty modern note. This is a 2009 $10 bill. Not going to spend a lot of time here because you can see by the serial number that this is a serial number 1. Serial number 1s are arguably the most sought after bills ever because that first serial number is so challenging to acquire. This one graded by PCGS a 67 PPQ. Now, how do you get the perfect grade of 70 for a banknote? Really quickly, the better the margins are, the more perfectly centered they are, the higher the grade is going to be, in combination with no folds and bends on the note, no dirt, no stains, no tears. So this note sold for $17,625. So this is a double whammy here. So this is a 1934 $10 bill with a light green seal. You can see that the seal and the serial numbers look like a lighter green. Typically, light green seal banknotes are going to be worth more money because they don't really come out as often as the darker green or the normal green seal banknotes. That in combination with the high grade of a PCGS 65 PPQ as well as the serial number 1 allowed this note to sell for $21,600. Now, this is the note we've all been waiting for. This is a 1928C Federal Reserve note that has a star. Now, this one was not graded by a third-party company, but it was graded by someone at the auction company, and they called it a very very choice, crisp, uncirculated banknote. Now, the reason why this note sold for so much money is because there are only, you're not going to believe me, there's only one of these ever known in any collection, and I'm going to show you why right now. So this is a 1928 C $10 bill. It is from the Cleveland, Ohio district. You can tell by the large D on the left hand of the bill. D is also the fourth letter in the alphabet. That's why you see the number 4s all around the bill there. But what's really important here, what you really want to be looking for is that C after the date of 1928. That C is a really hard bill to come by. There's really not many of them known in any sort of district. So if you have a 1928 C, it's super important that you find someone trustworthy to sell to. Do not get scammed, do not get ripped off, because there are a lot of people out there that are trying to take you for your money. Unfortunately, there are some good people out there. You just have to find someone trustworthy. But if you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely enjoy the one on your screen.